Greetings, my mass media junkies. How are you this week? I hope you are well. This is week 10, and actually, this is going to be the very last week I do a formal announcement. So I'm going to cover a few things and then talk a little bit about regulation and mass media. First of all, do not forget that we're ending time for our final project. In seminar this week, I'm going to go over what is required for that final project paper. It's basically only 5 pages with an introduction, a look at your analytical ability in your final project, your knowledge acquisition, and also the practical application of your final project and a quick conclusion. All of this, of course, is outlined in the final project grading rubric and PDF that you can find in this week's unit. So please don't forget to do that. Also, don't forget to continually update your final project through at least Unit 11, because I'm going to be looking at them one last time and looking at them for the overall evolution of the final project. So if you have any questions, concerns, please make sure to email me. I will answer them to the best of my ability. This will also be the very last video announcement I do. The rest of the class is us, hurrying up, finishing up our finals and putting in those final posts. So make sure that you do that and know that I am still around, even though you're not getting more video recordings. The other thing is, I almost forgot, all your late work. If you have late work from the very first class all the way up through Unit 8, you have to have it in by the end of this week, period. No exceptions, because I just won't have the time to go over the work to read everybody's submissions. It's just going to be virtually impossible. You won't be able to get full points, but if you're falling behind in the class, I would highly suggest that you go back through each and every section and make sure that you've done all the tests, that you have all your seminars. I have been emailing people, letting them know if they're missing seminars and where you're at seminars. You only had to do 6. If you haven't met 6 seminars, I highly suggest you go back. You do a seminar option 2 for a couple of the chapters. Again, you won't get full points, but some points is better than no points. Unit 1 through 8, if they are not complete by the end of this week, you do not get credit for it. Sorry. It's just the way it's got to be. All right, so please try to take care of that as soon as possible. All right, regulation. Now, here is an idea within commerce, within mass media, within our society, that regulation has always been a difficult idea for our society. And it's been a difficult for our society because of this whole idea of the free market, right? Whether we're talking about the free market of our ideas or the free market of economics, there is this feeling that if we interfere with this free market of ideas, knowledge, economics, any of that, right, then we are limiting freedom. And so there's always going to be a portion of the population who goes, regulations, no thank you. But then regulations also have some positive aspects. For example, it's because of regulations that we are able to stop monopolies. Their textbook brings up the example of AT&T, right? But of course, AT&T and all the other phone companies have figured out how to create different monopolies now by having those interesting, and that's a nice word for it, phone contracts, in which if you buy a special phone, for example, I don't know where mine is, but I have the iPhone, right? I can only use it with AT&T. If I want to go to Verizon, which I'm going to be doing pretty soon, I can't use the iPhone. Not technically, right? Maybe I can jailbreak it, but supposedly that's against the law, and I actually had to sign a contract that said I wouldn't. That sounds a lot like a monopoly to me. Matter of fact, these contracts that we have to fill out with phone companies are very much so a kind of monopoly, aren't they? Because you're forced to stay in the contract or pay a really hefty fine to get out of the contract, even if you're dissatisfied with the service you're receiving from that phone company. I had to pay $200 to get out of my Sprint contract because Sprint would not allow my husband to change his phone number to a 206 number so his mother wouldn't get nabbed with long-distance charges every time she called him. From 2 blocks down from where we live. But they wanted to charge us long distance. Well, because his mom calls a lot, and so does his sister, we decided that we would go ahead and suck up the $200 because it would have ended up costing us more in the long run with long distance charges. So regulation, we have a love-hate relationship with this concept and idea in mass media, in the marketplace, and in the idea of ideas and knowledge in itself. So this week, I'd like you to consider your personal relationship with regulation. When it comes to mass media, especially our entertainment, sometimes we have a huge problem with the idea that somebody would regulate what we can watch. One of the big issues that came up with this was when there was lots of discussion about television and rating television and movies and music, and making sure that certain children, from a young age to age 13 couldn't see certain things, and that you had to be a certain age to see different forms, R-rated movies, and so on and so forth. Is this fair? In a free marketplace of ideas, does regulations exist? Are they important? And how much regulation is too much regulation? And who gets to be the gatekeeper and decide how and what regulations we're going to present to the world? These are all really important questions, and questions that we're going to tackle with this week in your mass media course, CMST245. And then one other thing is also this week I'm going to be advertising hopefully my next course. Consider taking, if you have another communications credit that you need to get, CMST275, in which we'll look at communication and the internet specifically, almost ideally, just new technologies and how it affects communication and how it affects our image of us personally. And that's it. I hope you guys have a great week. I hope you have a great end of your term. Thank you all very, very much for joining me on this journey that we've taken together. And I hope you are well. I hope you are happy. And I will catch you on the boards. See you later. Bye.